So the Dallas Cowboys have made their decision. Jason Garrett is officially out as head coach of the team. Miracles can happen, a moment for all Cowboys fans to rejoice. Remind the fact that it took way too long to come to this decision. It took you a week after the season ended to determine you didn't want Jason Garrett. Like there was an internal conflict and a struggle and a battle and problems. We're trying to make this decision for Jerry Jones. Like this is peak Jerry Jones. This speaks to Jerry Jones' incompetence as an owner when it comes to the football side of the operations. This speaks to how badly he is damaging that organization, continues to damage that organization, and will continue to do so. The fact that after all that time and all that mediocrity and very little return, you have loyalty to a former third-string quarterback because many moons ago he came in on a Thanksgiving game against Green Bay and threw a couple of bombs to Alvin Harper in '94. This is the guy that you have this internal conflict and struggle with. A year where your division was absolute crap. You had a top-flight offense, a statistically near-the-top defense, and your team went 8-8 and missed the dang playoffs. That Dallas Cowboys team, coached by that guy, Jason Garrett. Like, is Jason Garrett the product of Jerry Jones's loins? Is he his lover? Obviously no, but still. Like, this type of devotion to a guy who never took you to an NFC Championship game, let alone a Super Bowl, and God forbid, let alone a Super Bowl trophy. Like, this is ridiculously disconnected from reality behavior from Jerry Jones. It just goes to show you how bad this has been, how bad this has gotten. He just couldn't quit him. And even when it came to the moment in time to actually fire the guy, even though it's really not making much of a statement by firing him because his contract expired in a few days anyways, you finally do it. But then when you you get the word out, you find out that Jason Garrett allowed them to fire him and that Jerry was still struggling with it before ultimately making the decision. Where the hell was the struggle? And furthermore, how the hell does somebody allow you to fire them? You could say, well, Jason Garrett didn't walk away. He didn't quit. He didn't resign. He allowed them to fire him. Perhaps, if you want to get into the wording of the semantics. But this should have been a Cowboys team where the Red Sea had parted. They were clearly on the path where they should have been a division winner. They didn't even make the playoffs. They went what they did this year. This should have been a fired Sunday night or Black Monday type of deal. And yet Jerry Jones dragged it out for a week. Jerry Jones is Al Davis now. And worse. There was way more cool factor with Al Davis. And even when Al Davis at the end was running his organization into the ground, at least it was kind of train wreck, laughable, and fun to do it. And you weren't nearly getting them as an organization pounded down your throat by the networks and by the league as much as you do with Jerry Jones and his stupid, mediocre Cowboys. And at least you can say for Al Davis in the last decade of his life, at least you had a couple of playoff appearances and a Super Bowl appearance. You have none of that with Jerry Jones when it comes to Super Bowl appearances, so he doesn't even sniff Al Davis's butt cheese. You know what the Dallas Cowboys are? They're the Chicago Bears with better quarterback play, way more media attention and coverage, and worse results over Jerry Jones' tenure in the past 10, 20 years. Look it up. You know I'm right. It's true. And the Bears are mediocre as hell. So what the heck does that make the Dallas Cowboys? Which brought me to the whole thing of who would want to take on this job? Like, sure, it's coaching America's team, and you've got all that talent in place. But it's about more than that. This is not a great situation because Jerry Jones is not a great football owner. You might say he's a great businessman, great strategist, great marketer perhaps, great football guy, heck to the no. How do you know that? The proof is in the pudding. The results aren't there. So it really made me question, like, is somebody just going to be desperate for a job and they just absolutely want to take it? Because I just don't know why anybody would want this. Because Jerry wants a puppet. Jerry doesn't want a guy that's going to question him. Jerry doesn't want a guy that's going to challenge him. Jerry's not going to want a guy that makes him feel insecure. Because Jerry Jones sure as hell is not going to allow his ego to sit there and go by the wayside. It's what it's all about with him. He just can't quit himself. No matter how much logic dictates, you don't know what the hell you're doing. So I was wondering how long this coaching search was going to play out, even though realistically knowing that if there was mutual interest between a coaching candidate and the Cowboys, it probably wouldn't take long because there's still going to be the appeal of Jerry Jones will pay you. You'll be coaching America's team. You've got Dak. You've got talent on offense. You've got talent on defense. Talent is not the issue. It's coaching. So I could see where that potentially appeals to somebody. And what the Dallas Cowboys needed to do was either hire somebody that was completely different or outside of the box, or hire somebody that was a proven commodity. Which made you think maybe they're going to go the college coach route, or, God, it would have been fantastic if they would have hired Marvin Lewis, the white Jason Garrett, but better. Oh, my goodness, would that have been magnificent or what? But that didn't happen. Instead, the Dallas Cowboys very quickly have made their decision on who is going to be their next head football coach, and it's former Green Bay Packers head coach Mike McCarthy. And this one catches me a little bit off guard. Because I thought maybe McCarthy was going to end up in Cleveland, but apparently he didn't want to go there. And frankly, who could blame him? Former Packers coach. Now he's going to be coaching in Dallas. Man, you talk about a rivalry where both teams really hate each other. The fan bases absolutely detest each other. One of the best true rivalries in the National Football League. It's not frickin' Bears-Packers. It's Packers-Cowboys. It's an infinitely better rivalry because they play in more meaningful games. And sometimes the Cowboys win and sometimes the Packers win. And there's more history there and so on and so forth. Man, this just made that rivalry a whole lot more interesting. Now you're potentially talking about Mike McCarthy against Aaron Rodgers. Ooh, sign me up for that one. But if you look at this fit for the Dallas Cowboys, it's actually a really solid hire. It's not going to have tremendous sex appeal, maybe, like hiring a Matt Rule or an Urban Meyer or a Lincoln Riley or somebody along those lines. But when you talk about available, proven coaching commodities on the market, Mike McCarthy was about as good as you were going to get. Unlike Jason Garrett, he's been to the Super Bowl as a head coach. Unlike Jason Garrett, he's won a Super Bowl as a head coach. Unlike Jason Garrett, he's been to NFC Championship games multiple times, even in non-Super Bowl seasons. Jason Garrett can't proclaim that. So beyond question, beyond a shadow of a doubt, the Dallas Cowboys have made an upgrade at their biggest area of deficiency in their organization outside of the owner, and that is the head coach. Again, it might not seem like the most exciting move. It might not seem like the sexiest move, but sometimes that doesn't matter. And maybe it's one of these things where Mike McCarthy is established enough to where he knows what he's doing to a degree. Even though you worry about towards the end in Green Bay, he had lost Aaron Rodgers. He wasn't able to put his foot down. He wasn't able to adjust his offense. How is that going to automatically get better in Dallas? Those are valid questions to have. But you got to roll the dice here. Because what are you going to take a gamble on somebody else's assistant when they have no track record as an NFL head coach? And frankly, same thing with the college guys. Sometimes those college guys can translate, and sometimes they really do not. Well, at least here with McCarthy, you could point to the resume and you could say this is a guy that did a lot of good things with Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Rodgers' development as a professional quarterback. Now you look at Dak Prescott coming off a career year, knowing you're going to be investing big money in him. You got to make sure you're able to get a maximum return on that investment, so it makes some sense potentially to bring Mike McCarthy into the fold. Like, this was a solid hire. Is it going to be the one that makes him a champion? I don't know. Is he enough to overcome the handicap of Jerry Jones as the owner? I don't know. But it feels like one of those situations where he got somebody that's not a puppet, but is not going to ruffle the feathers of the Jones family too much. He's got credibility. He's got offensive chops. Like, I can't believe I'm saying this. Like, the Cowboys actually got something right here. And maybe good things come to those who wait. And maybe it was certainly worth the wait. Or maybe if you're a Cowboys fan at this point, it really didn't matter who the next head coach was going to be. It was just a matter of what was so obvious to the rest of the world that wasn't named Jerry Jones is that Jason Garrett's time was up, Jason Garrett's time was over, and he needed to go. And even though he dragged his feet like an incompetent nincompoop to make the decision, which was not a hard decision to make at all, if you have any type of football or business sense whatsoever, especially with the contract about to expire anyways. It's not like you're eating money or anything. Just let him go. But it looks like the Cowboys might have actually gotten the head coach right. Crazy, huh?